Before we get into those Davante Adams trade rumors, a question for everyone watching, or maybe a request. Predict the score for me of this week's Cowboys versus Patriots matchup in the comment section right now. All right, so Davante Adams pretty publicly is unhappy with the way things are going in Las Vegas. I would say understandably so. And one reporter, it's Matt Lombardo, who I don't think is that good, but is somewhat national reporter, has linked the Cowboys to an Adams trade. We'll get to that. Let's rewind why this is even being discussed. And it's what Adams said about the Raiders' slow start. Quote, I don't want to act like it's all crazy. It's week 3, but I don't have time to wait around. It's not a personal thing. I mean, it is a personal thing, but it isn't just about me. It's not my mentality to take all season and try to figure it out, to use these games like this to establish an identity, and we're not doing things the right way to establish a winning culture early in the season. We have to do something to turn that around. Adams is unhappy in Las Vegas. That is the reality of the situation right now. And I can't say I blame him. I can only imagine how pissed Adams was when down by 8 points late in the fourth quarter on 4th and 4, your head coach kicks a field goal. And we can rip on McCarthy all we want. Jason Garrett would never have done that. That's how bad of a decision that was. So then here comes Matt Lombardo linking 6 teams that he thinks makes a ton of sense for Davante Adams. To be blunt, some of these don't make sense. The Cincinnati Bengals with Chase, Higgins, and Boyd. The Niners with Debo, Kittle, and Brandon Ayuk. The Browns, okay, maybe. Lions, sure. Packers, the reunion angle is actually kind of funny. And then it's the Cowboys that are in there. And this just maybe seems like one of those times, national reporter trying to get some buzz and some clicks by linking Dallas to Davante Adams. It's at least worth a conversation because some of the potential log jams in the way actually are somewhat manageable. I'll explain what I mean by that here in a little bit. But first, assuming it's an expensive trade and the money and the pieces, all that stuff, would you trade for Davante Adams? This will be today's pinned comment, so if the ad happens to play here on YouTube, that's fine. Take advantage of the ad playing and go down there and vote. Y for yes, N for no. The stats the last 4 seasons for Davante Adams, we know who he is. If you're power ranking your top 5 wide receivers and you don't have Davante Adams on there, you're making a mistake. He is a dynamic football player, regardless of who the quarterback is. You can pretty much pencil him in for 1,500 yards and almost touchdown per game. He is an absolutely incredible football player who continues to do great things despite the fact that he is getting a little bit more up there in age. From a pure talent perspective, Adams and Lamb would be one of, if not the best wide receiver duos in the NFL, would at least put you in that Hill, Waddle, etc. conversation. Now, the money. We know how much the Cowboys care about that. It's actually not that bad. It's $6.5 million in 2023, which is very cheap and very manageable with the way the Cowboys books is currently set up. Now, you do have to pay Lamb in the near future. That's a problem. But Adams' guaranteed contract next year accounts for like $18-ish million, give or take. You can always adjust it as well. That's also very doable. And that's not that much more than what you're in line to potentially pay Michael Gallup next season. So money-wise, it is doable if you make a decision on Michael Gallup. Now, the Cowboys have structured Brandon Cooks' contract to where he's actually pretty cheap as well. Plus, you just traded for him. I'm not sure that's the one you'd be trying to move on from. You'd rather try to move the $9.5 million that Gallup is owed next year, knowing you save very minimal amount of money short-term, long-term, because you've already restructured it. It's less about you get the paid money off the books, but you're still eating a good chunk of change. It's not really saving much money with Gallup, but you probably have to use him, despite the cap hit you'd be eating being somewhat low. You'd save $2.5 million or so this year and about $1 million next year, so not a lot of savings there. but still doable. But you can't have Cooks and Gallup and Lamb and Adams all on your roster with the way you want to play football games, barring injury right now. It's not doable. Now, you can also treat Adams as a rental, trade for him now, and then flip him at the end of the year, which is kind of more of a mad move as far as I'm concerned. But you can't have one of those guys. Those guys don't play special teams for you. So is one just going to ride the pine, getting paid big bucks? I have my doubts. We'll spend some more time here on the Davante Adams, what the trade cost might be. But today's show is made possible by Odds Are. They are not a sports book, but they are the sports betting advisor in your pocket. Simply download the app, sign up for an account, and let the latest data analysis guide you through today's point spreads, money lines, and or over-unders. It's a pretty simple app to use. If you see green, that means you bet. If you see red, it means you don't bet. If you see yellow, think about it, make a decision. By the way, I'm looking at this. Next slide, Cowboys, Patriots. I'm seeing some green on that Cowboys spread, and I'm seeing some green on the over-under as well. Things that make it interesting from that perspective. It's very straightforward, and the results speak for themselves. The odds are numbers on those green line value plays last week for the NFL and college football, they went 20-7. The best sharps in the world are not going 20-7 consistently, at least. That's some unbelievable results, and they're giving you the first 30 days for free. Head over to oddsr.com/NFL daily to download the app. That's oddsr.com/NFL daily. Go ahead and become a smarter bettor with Odds Are. Trade value here for Mr. Davante Adams. We are not far removed from it being a first and a second that the Green Bay Packers got for Davante Adams. It became Devontae Wyatt, and they traded the 59th pick, became Ed Ingram, by the way. That's a premium package. It's probably a little bit less expensive now since Adams is older. I still think you'd have to give up a first-round pick. You did that with the Raiders and Amari Cooper, after all, right? I think you'd probably try to throw in Michael Gallup as part of that deal to make it make more sense from a balancing roster perspective in the moment. That's a lot to give up. And in the end, shouldn't get your hopes up. If the Cowboys make a big splash, it's often been at wide receiver. They've shown that time and time again. I also doubt that Adams ends up getting traded. I think the Raiders are going to keep him. Now, there is a scenario and a multiverse that exists where Adams is so mad with the way the year's gone, he marches into Mark Davis's office and demands a trade. Says, I'm out of here. Get me out of here. If that does happen, I think there are other teams that are more desperate for wide receiver help that would give up, or at least be willing to give up more than what the Cowboys would probably be ready to do. I'd love to move all of my twos for Adams, since you can't can't draft the twos anyway. I'm going to get my hopes up there. Now, because I'm out of town for a couple days this week, we're not doing the 2 videos per day thing, but we still did that on Tuesday, and we'll be back again with more videos throughout the week next week. So hit that sub button for more free Dallas Cowboys YouTube videos. Let's talk signing La'el Collins here. He has reportedly passed a physical after his brutal knee injury last year. Now, because of the various Cowboys injuries that are going on right now, they're not necessarily in the best shape on the offensive line. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Collins is the most viable option at this stage. There are issues going on from that perspective in terms of the health, the medical. He has recently, reportedly, I should say, passed a physical after that really, really bad knee injury next year. That's just the unfortunate situation that Collins has been in. He's still probably a few weeks away in terms of getting back and ready to go. But of the available offensive linemen, it's not like it's a very good crop. And Collins probably is one of the better ones out there. He didn't play badly by any stretch of the imagination against the Bengals, or for the Bengals, I should say, last year before that bad knee injury. The issue is, for me at least, he's a right tackle. The Cowboys didn't think he could play left guard the last time he was here when they moved on from him. He certainly is not a left tackle. He can't play center. So your issues right now are, getting Zach Martin healthy and when Tyron Smith inevitably goes down. So does that mean that Collins is actually a fit? We'll spend some more time on this, but I want to hear your thoughts. Would you sign La'el Collins if you were the Cowboys? Type in A for yeah, you'd add him, or type in P for you would pass on him, you don't want him on this Cowboys team in the year 2023. Now, I'm not sure Collins can play the non-right tackle spot. And with Matt Waletzko set to return soon, I see no spot for him on the active roster. Now, it is the practice squad, and there's never been a bad practice squad signing in history. Just like how there's never been a bad draft pick in the 7th round in NFL history. That's fine. You can go that route if you want to. But Collins does have a $2.1 million injury guarantee. If always getting his practice squad offers, he might just not play and take the 2.1 instead. Quickly now on the Cowboys injury report from Wednesday. As was reported, they didn't lie. Biotish, Martin, Smith did not participate. We'll know more on them Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. It was indeed a veteran rest day for CeeDee Lamb and DeMarcus Lawrence, so take your big deep breath and breathe. Chuma Adoga was limited with that elbow injury. I think it's more managing it since he did play after all, so he'll probably be okay. It's Wednesday. He'll probably get a full win on Thursday or Friday. Now, the jinx has been in for this Cowboys team. The recent run of Thursday results has been injuries, bad injuries on a Thursday. We need to break that streak. So like the video, to help the Cowboys avoid an injury on Thursday, I am going out of town to reverse jinx it. Fingers crossed, nothing bad happens that day.